What is going on then, guys? How is everybody? Hope you're all well and enjoying this lovely weather that we are experiencing right now. And today we're going to be ranking Premier League clubs' summer transfer windows. We're going to get straight into it because it's going to be a lengthy one. So, first of all, this is how it scored. A means you've had a great window on the best in the league. B, it's been average. You know stronger or weaker than last season, realistically. And C, I think it's disastrous. You've spent too much or too little, not strengthened where needed, and lost some quality. So first up, we have Arsenal, who have spent £208 million on Raya, Havertz, Rice and Timber, which I think is decent. And obviously, a lot of outgoings. We've just tried to get the more important ones, so like Balogun going 34 mil, which is a good fee. Xhaka for 21, I think is good. Matt Turner, 10's half decent. Austin Trusty, 5 mil's not bad. You know, and they've got a few players out on loan, like Kieran Tierney. Rob Holding getting him off the books as well was decent. By the way, guys, sorry about all the sweat. So that is why for Arsenal I gave them a rating of B. I do think they are stronger, but I also think they spend a big amount of money. So I decided to give them a B. Next up, we have my club, Aston Villa, who have had, in my opinion, a very solid window. Still positions that needed strengthening, like a right back as backup, a number 2, maybe a holding midfielder behind Kamara, and a number 9. But Pau Torres for 33, Diaby for 60, give or take. Rico Richards was on a free, Tielemans on a free, which is the best one. Zaniolo and Longley on loan. Longley wouldn't have happened had Mings not got injured though, and Zaniolo had Buendia not got injured. But the fees that we've got on our outgoings, like Aaron Ramsey, I think it was 14 plus add-ons. Cameron Archer 18, you know, as young lads are gone. You know, obviously Ashley Young went, but we didn't sell him, he was released. Davies going, you know, players like that I think are good. We got him off the books. And that is why for me I've given Villa a rating of A, which is one of the best in the league. Not spent a lot for the players I brought in and gained back a lot of money as well. Next up, we have Bournemouth, who have brought in quite a few incomings. You know, Justin Cliver, great signing. Tyler Adams, brilliant. Sinistera on loan. You know, Max Aaron's even's not bad. That Favre, I'm sure he's meant to be half decent. You know, and they've loaned out a lot of players, got a lot of players off their wages, which is fair play. And that is why, for me, I've given them, again, a B. I don't think they're majorly stronger. I don't think they're majorly weaker. Actually doesn't even show how much they've spent, but yeah, I think they've had an average season window as well. Brentford up next. Nathan Collins 23 mil I think was a lot. Fleckham for 11, meh. Sade for 20 is a lot on a young lad. Morpie on loan. They've spent 54 mil, but they've lost players like Raya, like Janssen, like Fosu, and that's why I've given them a C. I don't think they're stronger at all. Brighton next, who have brought in Baleba for 23, Verbruggen for 16, who I've seen him against Newcastle, looks decent. João Pedro, says undisclosed, I'm sure it was like 40, which is a lot, but he's not a bad player. Milner on a free, Fatty on loan, which is a great one. But they've sold players like McAllister, Robert Sanchez, Caicedo. As much as they've brought in a lot of money for Caicedo, he's still a big player. But that being said, they still get their rating of an A. Burnley next, who have brought in a lot of players. Probably won't know much about most of these, to be honest. Obviously, Aaron Ramsey from Villa, we do know he's a good player, and James Trafford's half decent. But they've also lost a lot of players like Matthew Loughton, Peacock Farrell, Wout Weghorst going out on loan. And that is why I've given them a B, just average. You know, I think they want to stay up, but they're also setting up to go back down if they have to. And next up we have Chelsea. I mean, look at it. They spent 432 mil plus undisclosed fees. That's terrible window, and I don't think they brought in a major amount really when you actually look at a lot of the stuff there. Yeah, giving them a C. They're no stronger, no weaker. I think they're worse. I don't need to say much. When you spend 430 mil, gotta be something big in there, and there's not. Next up, Everton. Young on a free, Danjuma on loan, Chermiti for 15, Jack Harrison on loan's not bad, and Beto, who I've seen, he's looked decent to be fair, but they've lost Iwobi, they've lost Holgate on loan, they've lost, who else have they lost here? Tom Davis, Begovic, Mina, Townsend, you know, and that is why I've given them a C as well. I don't think they've done enough, I think they've had a poor window. Next up, Palace, who brought in Lerma on a free, Franco for 26, Dean Henderson for 20, and Rob Holding on undisclosed, would probably be a couple mil. But they've not really gained any money back this window. After spending 46 mil and extra, I've given them a B. I think they're about a similar spot. They haven't replaced Wilfred Zaha, so it could easily actually be a C, to be honest. There's a big player gone. But I think Lerma's a good signing, Henderson's a good signing. Next up, Fulham, who have brought Iwobi for 22, I think it's an awful lot. Jimenez 5.5, I don't think that's good enough. Bassi for 18, I think it's a lot. Adama on a free low was decent. Castagne 15, probably fair. But they've sold Mitrovic for 45. And that's why I give them a C. I think they're much weaker. You know, they've also lost Joe Bryan and Paolo Gazzaniga, who's a decent goalkeeper. Liverpool next, Gravenberch 34, McAllister 35, Szoboszlai 60 and Endo 16. It's 145 mil spent, but they've lost so many leaders in Carvalho. I know he's not a leader, but they've lost him for the season. Henderson was massive. I genuinely believe they should have kept him. I thought he was their best midfielder. Fabinho, same. Firmino, same. Keita and Milner, you know, a lot of players there, and I give them a C. I think they're weaker, you know, and I know that's going to be controversial, but it's my opinion. Luton next, they brought in Mengi. Barkley's a good signing. Ryan Giles isn't bad. Nakamba, they loved him last season when he come in January. Tim Krul's decent. Sambi Lakonga's not bad. You know, the players they've sold and got rid of aren't the worst. I think McAtee's a decent player though. Obviously, Henry Lansbury has retired. I think, you know, they've had a good window. I'm giving them an A because I think that they're setting up to go back down and come back up than they are to look at staying up. Next up, City, 55.5 on Doku, 77.6 on Gvardiol, 30 on Kovacic, 53 on Nunes. I think 216 mil is an awful lot on those players. Gvardiol and Kovacic, I think, are the only two that I don't mind. But you've lost Laporte for 23, João Cancelo on loan, James Trafford 19, that's fine. Cole Palmer 42.5. I'm surprised they were willing to sell him, honestly. I think Cole Palmer's such a talent. I think Chelsea have got a really good deal there. And that is why I've given them a C as well. You know, I don't think they've had a good window at all. I think they've lost a couple of really big players, Cole Palmer being one of them. Next up we have United, 60 mil on Mount, Amrabat on loan, Onana 47, Johnny Evans out, Hodgland 72 is terrible in my opinion. You know, they've lost Dean Henderson for 20, they've lost Fred for 12.9. Again, not really much money back. I'm going to give them a B though, because I think, you know, you have brought in a striker, you brought in a goalkeeper after losing De Gea, you brought in Mount and Amrabat. Like, you've strengthened in the position you needed to, but I don't think you've done well. I think Onana's not going to do much better than De Gea. He's just going to be better with his feet. I think Hodgland's a rip-off. So, unconvinced. Next up we have Newcastle, who spent 39 on Barnes, 55 on Tonali was a good deal, 32 on Livramento, Lewis Hall on loan. You know, they've sold Saint Maximin for 23, which is getting him off the books. Same as Chris Wood, same as all of these players are good players off the books. But I give them a B as well, because I don't think they've strengthened as much as they need to, considering they've got an extra tournament in the Champions League now this year. Next up we have is Forest, who, I'm not going to try and say his name, but a bloke from Norwich. Sangari's not bad, but 30 mil I think is a lot. Matt Turner. You know, Hudson-Odoi is a good signing. But then, you know, you've got a lot of good players off the books as well, I suppose. And Jesse Lingard would be some wages off. But I do still give you a C, because I don't think you're stronger. I don't think you're weak. I just think it's not an average window at all. You brought in a lot of players and you've not released a lot, and you needed to after the amount you brought in last season. Next is Sheffield United, who have only spent 23 mil and undisclosed, so they spent a lot more than that. But, you know, Trusty for 5, Archer for 18. Archer looks good in his game, in his debut. You know, you've got a few players off the books. Yeah, I think you ran an okay window, really. Again, I don't think you're stronger or weaker. I think you're just there. Again, you ain't going to go and break the market, are you, Sheffield United? Next up is Tottenham, who made Kulusevski permanent for 25. Madders for 40. Vicario 17, who's looked good. Porro, they've made permanent for 39. Van der Ven 43. Brennan Johnson 47.5. You know, you've lost Kane, who's huge, but you've brought in Brennan Johnson, who's a very good player, and you've sold Harry Winks for 10 mil, which is decent, I think. All in all, I'll give you guys an A in the window. I think you've had a very good window. You got 100 mil for Kane, which I was surprised at, especially when in not even 6 months' time, Bayern could have gave him a contract for free. You know? So I think that's good business in the end. West Ham, Kudus 38, Alvarez 35, Ward-Prowse 30 was a very good move, and Mavropanos 19. Sold Rice for 105 again. One I was really surprised. I didn't think you were going to get that. Vlasic 11. Now, I think Vlasic is a player, you know. So I was surprised to see that they had sold him. But all in all, again, brilliant window. Getting that 105 for Rice and putting it into players. You know, Ward-Prowse has looked brilliant to start this season, you know. I think they'll have a good year, West Ham. Next, and I'm pretty sure it's last, is Wolverhampton with Boubacar. Traore signing for 9.5. Matt Doherty on a 3. Tom King on a 3. I'm going to be honest with you guys. You know, they spent 19.5 mil and a bit extra. Yes, they've sold Nunes for 53 and Neves for 47. You know, they've brought in a lot of funds, but they've not spent anything. I think they've had a terrible window, and I'm giving them a C. So next up, we go on our rewards. So we got best window, best signing, and worst signing. Best window, I'm going to be honest with you, it was tight. I think Brighton were there. I think Luton potentially, if you look at it from a different point of view, there's obviously Villa in my opinion. And the team I'm giving it to is Villa. I think the money we've spent and what we've gained back on certain players is very good business. And I do think we are somewhat ready for the season now. It will be a very interesting season though to see who, by the end of it, did actually have the best window. Worst window, you've got Chelsea, you've got Wolves, you've got Liverpool, in my opinion. But the team that gets it is Chelsea again. You spent £400-something million. And I don't think you're stronger, I don't think you're weak. I just think you've had a terrible window. You spent way too much, brought way too many players in. Again, have you not learnt from last season? Don't bring in that amount of players. Best signing for me, can't actually remember who I gave this one to. Might be Tonali. Tonali or McAllister, I think it was between. And it was McAllister who went with to Liverpool for 34 mil. And again, I know Liverpool had a bad window, but 34 mil on McAllister from a team like Brighton is an absolute bargain and steal. So he gets my best sign, and I do think he'll make himself worth more. His stock will rise. There is profit on McAllister. Worst signing, I'm going to be honest, Caicedo was up there, 115 mil. But at least he's come with a Premier League background. You know, he's got a bit of stock to him. Whereas Hodgland doesn't. I know he scored a lot last season, but where's the experience? You know, you've just spent 72 mil on a striker. Personally, I'd rather have spent an extra 30, 40 and brought in Harry Kane. Genuinely, I would have. Guaranteed goals. But each their own. Hodgland might get my worst signing. McAllister my best. Chelsea win it though for worst window, and Villa win it for best. Guys, if you have enjoyed, please drop a like. Comment down below if you agree, disagree. Where do you think your team ranked? And I'll see you when we get.